Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we're going to wait a few minutes. Hopefully, some people may enter the room to benefit from it live. Inshallah. Let's just give it a few minutes, bi'idhnillah, to try and leave room for a few people to possibly enter. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. أخي إلير، كيف حالك؟ Trying to adjust myself to better angle, even though nobody needs to see me any differently. I don't know. I'm just going to give it a few minutes, inshallah, to maybe another minute or two, and then I will begin, bi'idhnillah. If anyone has any questions during the talk, then they can type them in or a comment. They can type them in the search bar. It'll tell me if you're on Facebook or YouTube. We can share that on the screen, inshallah, and try to address that comment or concern or question, bi'idhnillah. Inshallah, we'll begin. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد. Then this live, I wanted to share with some of my friends, my actual real friends that I know, as well as those who are my friends on Facebook or subscribers on YouTube. And it is regarding a recent trip that I took to Saudi Arabia from Kuwait. And I wanted to just discuss it a little bit. Number one, to try to solidify some of the benefits that I gathered, as well as to introduce this type of uh, rihla, this type of traveling, this type of project, if one could say that, so that they could be part of it, excuse me, in the future, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And this was a rihla ilmiya, a knowledge based trip, which was mainly in Medina, the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it was announced around 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before the actual takeoff date. And the people left from Kuwait to Medina, and it was scheduled for a number of days for scholars for us to sit with them, and for there also to be a type of, don't want to say field trip, but a visit to some of the historical sites, and we'll talk about that bi'idhnillah. Um, this the historical site that was visited was the sites of the Battle of Badr, the larger Battle of Al Badr. And we were guided by a sheikh. His name is Mansour Al Khalidi, the brother Aqil Ingram, Allah yahfadahu. He knows who he is. He used to teach us Ajurumiyah in the masjid, mashallah. So Sheikh Mansour Al Khalidi had taken some time on his own to go through with other mashayikh and people who knew history of the area and go through the books, and he would pinpoint the different sites where they would stop and get water, and when they set up a camp in one place, and then the Sahabi came to him and said, is this a matter of revelation or a matter of a war strategy? The Prophet ﷺ said, it's a war strategy. He said, well, I think we should do this. So he pinpointed a lot of things along the way from the Battle of Badr. And we took buses and we went there. Anyway, the Sheikh Mansour al-Khalidi, who has his doctor's degree, and he studied in Fresno in California for some time. He was the one who was guiding us on this tour, and he was announcing and discussing it along the way. And he's written a book about it called, if I'm not mistaken, Ghazwat al-Badr al-Kubra Kama Taraha, and it should be published anytime now. The Battle of Badr, or the main Battle of Badr, as if you see it. And he has maps and he shows where different things are. And we went along with him on the last day of the trip through these different sites. That was the main trip. The main trip was to Medina. Then they announced that there would be a rihla far'iyya, a subsidiary trip to Qasim for 2.5 days. And those who wanted to sign up could sign up. The trip from Kuwait to Medina was 100 KD, which is around $335. But you have to find your own way there. But that's for hotel and food 3 times a day, and buses and everything else for what they want to do. $335 per person, plus you have to get your way there. Then the trip to Qasim was 30 KD, and you have to get your way there, which is around $100. And so this is what the cost of the trip was, and that included lodging and food 3 times a day. So I and my son Muawiyah, we took advantage of both trips. And we had discussed with one of the organizers of it to ride with him. So one of the Kuwaiti brothers, we rode with him to Qasim in his car for benefits of those in America or England or Australia or probably many European countries, although not all. We're able to get a visitor's visa uh, and apply for it online with having your passport. And now I believe even the stipulations of having the vaccinations has been removed, or much of the stuff around it has been removed just in the last few days. So you can apply for a visitor's visa online if you're an American or a British or many European countries, Australian. And it's around $143, which includes everything, the insurance and everything that is necessary. And as soon as you pay, within minutes or within seconds, they'll give you the visa. And wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to Suhail and servant of Allah. So for $143, if you're those Western countries, you get a visa. That visitor's visa allows you, it lasts for 1 year. And you can be inside of Saudi Arabia up to 90 days throughout that year. You can stay up to 30 days at one time, which would give you 3 30-day stays. And you can enter and exit multiple times. And like I said, you have 90 days throughout the year. If you use all your 90 days, if you're, for example, stay 30 days, go back out, come back in right away, and do that 3 months in a row, then you would have to wait until that year expires to get a new visa. But that's not practical for most people. And so the visa, being a tourist visa, don't apply for an Umrah visa. An Umrah visa is different, and the prices are different, and it only allows you to go to Jeddah, Mecca, and Medina. Whereas a visitor visa allows you to travel anywhere throughout the Mamlaka, anywhere throughout Saudi Arabia. And you can even go by car through the different borders. Whereas if you have an Umrah visa, you must go with a group and enter by plane. Or if you go with a group, then you can go by a bus, one of those tour buses. So the benefit of that is you can go multiple times in and out. And if you wanted to travel to Saudi or to Bahrain or to Qatar or to Dubai at the same time, then you could come back and you could make Umrah again. And on that visitor's visa, you can make Umrah, but you cannot make Hajj. You can make Umrah, but you cannot make Hajj. And alhamdulillah, while we were there, the day after we came back, while we were there, they actually got rid of asking for all the permissions that they were requesting for praying in the Prophet's Masjid or for praying in the where the Kaaba is in the Masjid al-Haram. They were getting rid of all of this, and they got rid of the taba'ud, the praying in separation. Rather, everyone was praying foot to foot, and officially, the day after we came back, it was all removed. So everything is pretty much back to normal. You don't even need the PCR test anymore to enter into Saudi Arabia or into Kuwait. And you can enter into Kuwait now without vaccinations. And so everything is becoming much more back to normal. And with this visitor visa, you can go to Kuwait, visit some of the mashayikh, then travel by car with some brothers, go visit mashayikh in Riyadh or Qasim or Medina and Mecca and come back. You can do all of that. For $143, you can multiple entries and exits up to 30 days at a time, 90 days throughout the whole year. I spoke enough about that, but that's what we did. We bought those and we were able to travel by land with the brothers. And there were 4 of us in the car, 2 Kuwaiti brothers, and me and my son. We traveled in a Toyota Sequoia, mashallah, big car. a big SUV, very spacious, very nice and comfortable. And I say that not to brag that we rode in such a nice car, but to tell you that even though we rode in such a nice car, the statement of the Prophet ﷺ that traveling is a piece of punishment, traveling, a safar, qitatu min al adab, traveling is a piece of punishment, is still true. No matter if you ride first class in a plane, if you ride in a big, fancy, comfortable car with AC, it still has its portions of punishment that come with it. But alhamdulillah, we traveled because we rode in a car, a personal car. Traveling between the Kuwaiti border and Saudi was very easy. It was smooth flowing. We only had, me and my son had to take fingerprints at the border, and they said we only have to do that once until the next visa. So as many times as we go in and out after that, we don't have to do it anymore. And so we traveled from Kuwait to Qasim. In Qasim, there are a number of mashayikh. The brother who I was with, Muhammad Shab'an Abu Sa'd, he is actually studying his doctorate in Qasim right now. He finished his bachelor's degree in Medina, and he finished his master's in Qasim, and he's doing his doctorate in Qasim. Amongst the mashayikh of Qasim that we met are Omar al-Harakan, Sheikh Omar al-Harakan, who is one of the older senior students of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, as well as Sheikh Isam al-Sinani, hafidhullah, and Sheikh Saleh al-Suwayyij, who's younger, mashallah. We were hoping to meet with Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan and present to him a couple copies of the book that we recently translated for him, a hadith about fasting. But he was out of Qasim at the time, and when he came back, we left. And on our way back through, he had a class that day, and he could not meet with us. My hopes in being part of this live here is to share some benefits from each of the mashayikh. The trip ended up being 10 days. I'm going to bounce all around. You just have to bear with me. It's not a planned talk. It's just a idea. The trip was originally scheduled for us to leave on Thursday morning after Fajr and to be done Tuesday night. Basically, Wednesday morning, we'd have to leave the hotel for Medina and head home, around a week long. And then the opportunity came for us to make Umrah. So it ended up being Wednesday morning. We left for Medina. We stayed till Jumu'ah. We prayed Salatul Jumu'ah in Mecca, in Masjid al-Haram, and then we prayed Asr as well in Mecca, but not in Masjid al-Haram. And we headed to Medina, where we prayed Maghrib and Isha and ended up being tired, so we stayed the night. And anyway, we came home late Saturday evening, about 10:30, 11. So if you add Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 days. 10 days. It was originally 7 days. It ended up being 10 days. In Qasim, as I said, we were able to meet Sheikh Omar al-Harakan. I had met him some years ago when he came to Kuwait for a Dawra Ali ibn Abi Talib, a conference, and he taught al-Mirath and al-Janaza from Bulugh Maram. He taught about Janaza and al-Mirath from Bulugh Maram. And while we were there, the Sheikh, mashallah, he has a lot of wisdom. I'm going to share some of that, inshallah ta'ala, with you guys. So, one of the things that he did when he sat with us immediately is the brothers were passing around the bukhor. So those of you who know what bukhor is, you pass it around. Usually when you have on a gutra, then you put the bukhor in your gutra and you let it soak into your beard and your gutra, and you smell nice. So some brothers were just doing their beards and passing it. So the sheikh told everyone, Bakhr shamagak, do your shamag, put bukhor in your shamag, let the smoke hit your shamag. I'm going to test you guys. Pass it around. So he had everyone do it. Everyone do it. SubhanAllah. So what happens is you take the bukhor from the person on your right. I'm just going to use this water bottle. You take it from the person on your right with your right hand. You give and you take with your right hand. All the Muslims know this. And what do they do first? They got it in their right hand, and they take their left side of their shamag and they put the smoke and let the smoke come there. And then they come over here with the left hand and they do the right side. And then they take it in the right hand and they pass it over. So the sheikh went around and he let everybody do it, and everyone didn't do it. And so he gave everyone another chance. Dawar, Bakhr Shimag, Barathania. MashaAllah. So then only 3 people passed the test. And he said that when you take it with your right hand, you do your left side first. But the Prophet ﷺ used to love a tayammun. He used to love doing things on the right, beginning with the right. So take it with your right and put it in your left and do your right side first. And then do your left side and then pass it. This would be the sunnah way to do it. Not saying it's obligatory, but it'd be the sunnah way to do it. And so he tested us, mashallah, and he was reminding us that we should keep in mind the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that the Prophet ﷺ used to love a tayammun, doing things with their right side. Then he asked one of us to recite an ayat. I'll go back for a second. In Qasim, we were 28 people. In Qasim, we were 28 people. In Medina, we were 83 people. In Medina, we were 83 people. And when we made Umrah, we were only about 13 to 15 people. So this is what I wanted to say there. So we are a small group of people who stayed in a chalet or a villa. It had around 10 bedrooms and a bunch of bathrooms, and we all stayed there, and all the durus were there at the chalet, and we prayed there. It was nice. It was a wonderful experience. So Sheikh Omar came to us and he did this. Then he asked one of us to recite some Quran, and we recited the Quran. And then he asked us, in this ayah, how many verbs are there? Remember, we're 20-some people. There's only 2 non-Arabs, me and my son. But my son, he speaks Arabic fluently. I speak Arabic. I can read Arabic. It's not a problem. How many verbs are in this ayah? So some people say 14. Some people say 15. Some people say 11. Some people say 13. SubhanAllah. Miscounting the verbs in an ayah by a bunch of students of knowledge. The answer ended up being 15. There were a few people who had that number. And then he recited a number of ayat from the Quran, which says that you will differ basically because of a lack of knowledge. Recited a number of different ayat with that meaning, that you will differ because of a lack of knowledge. And he wasn't meaning anything by it, but then he asked us, take this phrase, just this ibara, not the whole ayat, but just this ibara, just this phrase. And I don't remember exactly what he asked, but he asked us again another grammar question. How many something in this phrase? What is in this phrase? And again, people differed over it. People differed over it. How many words are in this phrase? For example, يختلفون, basically 2 words. يختلفونها, for example, 3 words. Some people count it as 1. Some people count it as 2. So there was different ones. Again, the Sheikh repeated this, that there's differing because of a lack of knowledge. We differ with one another because of a lack of knowledge. And the point he was trying to bring home was that if we differ over how many verbs are in an ayat, we can't even count that properly. And we can't count how many words are in an ayat or in a phrase. Then how are we going to be able to handle other issues? So knowledge is that important to us. And then he had a solution. Wallahi, I think most people in the Muslim world, in the Salafi world, much less if we talk about the English speaking world, have this question. He said, the Jews are a group of people who fight the Muslims. The Christians are a group of people who fight the Muslims. The Mushrikeen are a group of people who fight the Muslims. And the Muslims are divided into 73 groups, all of them in the fire except one, which leaves 72 misguided groups who their goal is to mislead the Muslims. So you have the Mushrikun, the Yahud, and the Nasara. That's 3, along with 72 groups of Muslims who are aiming all of these 75 groups to mislead the Muslims from the right path. How is a Muslim supposed to be able to find the right path with all of these people seeking to misguide us? So the Sheikh gave us a 3-part answer, a 3-step answer, which wallahi, if one were to contemplate it, it's so easy. And Allah knows best, you already know it, but you didn't necessarily put them in their proper places and you didn't think about it. But the answer is right there. Systematic, 3 steps. First, utruk ma la yanik. Leave alone that which does not concern you. First and foremost, as the Prophet ﷺ told us to do. Second, ijtahid fima ya'nik. Ijtahid fima ya'nik. Strive and put in effort in what does concern you. Thirdly, kun mukhlisan lillah. Be sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you do this, you will be able to avoid the traps of these 75 different groups who are aiming to misguide you. Leave what does not concern you. Strive in what concerns you. And be sincere to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Succinct advice in 3 easy steps. So-and-so is a deviant. Does he live in your city? Do you have to listen to his tapes? Is he coming to visit your masjid? Now, if you're from those who are on the level of giving da'wah and you have a community which you have to protect, then this concerns you probably. But if you are one of those who attend classes, not giving them, you are one of those who listen to da'wah being given and not give da'wah, you are one of those who you just are happy and content handing out pamphlets to give dawah, and you're not writing them or editing them or translating them, then so and so being a deviant or not is not your concern. Don't listen to him. You don't have to take from him. He's not here in your city. He doesn't live across the street from you. He's not coming to your home. Leave it alone. It's only necessary for you to bother yourself with it if you are around that individual. Strive in what does concern you. Do you understand the book of Allah Azza wa Jal? Can you read the Quran in its original Arabic language, which is the only Quran? Anything else is a translation of the interpretation of the meanings. Can you read the Quran and understand it? If not, that concerns you. You need to be focusing on learning the Arabic language. Do you know what you're saying in Salah? Do you know the translation of a tashahud? Do you know the meanings of the adhkar that are said in the different positions? Do you know the meaning of the surahs that you are reciting? That concerns you. If you know them, but you haven't found your way to concentrate and your mind keeps drifting, that concerns you. How can I get khushu' in salah? And be sincere to Allah. And if you do this, you will avoid all those other groups. You will avoid all those other groups, and Allah knows best. I'm going to bring some advice. Some of it may be monumental, like I believe this advice of Sheikh Omar Harakan was. And some of it may not be so monumental. Some of it may just be something that I found beneficial, and there were more beneficial things, but it's what I, as a small student, thought to bring up and to share. And there were other points the Sheikh did. He sat with us a number of times, and we benefited from him both Thursday night and Friday night for a number of hours, and it was very beneficial. And he gave us a book, his explanation of Usul Sitta by Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, rahimahullah. And he gave everyone there that book, and he sought from us to translate it, and Allah knows best. We'll talk to him about that a little more, being in the future. Next, we have Sheikh Isam al-Sinani, which is also one of the major students of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala. He's an imam of a masjid there in Qasim. He has a number of books. He's visited us in Kuwait a number of times, shared with us some of his books. And the benefit that I wanted to bring was a story that they asked him about Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. And he said, they asked him, can you share with us a personal story that you have with Sheikh Uthaymeen? And one of the stories that he shared was a story that there was a group of Ikhwan Muslimin that wanted to meet with Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. And Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, was someone with status. And when you have a status and you have some position, you can't just dismiss anybody and everybody and say, no, you're Ikhwani, get out of my face. This is not hikmah. This is not wisdom. But what the Sheikh, he said, what the Sheikh Isam, Hafidhullah, he said, what the Sheikh used to do is that he would, if it was some people like this, he would have them meet him in the masjid. If it was other people from the Sunnah or the Awam, Tulab al-Ilm, people from outside, he would meet them in his house and have lunch and dinner and like this. But if it was these people who he knew he had, he knew they had different agendas, then he would meet them in the masjid. So one day he had them meet him in the masjid, and they sat in a corner. They didn't come to him, even though they should have come to him where he was. They stayed in the back in the corner. And so when the Sheikh was finished talking to whoever he was talking to, he left. And when he got outside the masjid, the person who had organized the meeting said, Sheikh, you're supposed to meet them. They're waiting on you. They're waiting on you there. And he was kind of upset. Like, I gave you the time to be there and you didn't come. And so therefore, he was a little upset. But he went back in the masjid. But when he went back in the masjid, even though he had only stepped maybe 10 to 15 steps outside of the masjid, he didn't even get his foot on the curb yet. One foot was on the street, one foot was on the curb. He hadn't left where he was, and his masjid is very close to the street. When he went back in the masjid to meet with them, he prayed 2 rakat tahiyatul masjid all over again. There's 2 things that I want to take from this story. And the Sheikh had left it at that. 2 things. The first is the importance of ibadah in the life of a Muslim. That a Muslim shouldn't say, well, I just left and I came back. No, you left with the intention to leave and to break off from the masjid for some time when you come back in. It's not like you went to go get something from your car and come right back in, for example. No, you left with the intention to leave the masjid. And so when you come back in, it's a different intention. You need to make tahiyatul masjid. Ibadah is important in the life of the Muslim. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Muharram. The second point I want to bring is something that I'm deriving from the story myself, and that is the fact that the Sheikh used to meet people due to his position that are undesirable people to meet with. But he placed a barrier. So number one, we can learn a few things. If we are in a position, if we have some type of status, we have some type of position that we might be politically forced, I guess, to meet with some people that are undesirable to meet with, then have that meeting different than the meeting with the people of the Sunnah. So the Sheikh separated between his house and the masjid. That's how he did it. You meet me in an official place, I have to deal with you officially. I'm going to meet you in an official place. And if you're my friend and my beloved ones, then I can meet you in my house. This is how we should do it. Secondly, if we look at someone who is meeting someone undesirable, let's look at where he met that person. Did he meet that person in his house? Or did he meet him in a masjid or an official place of business? He came to his job. He came to his dawah center. He came to his masjid. He came to a university where he teaches. That's an official place. Maybe he had a political stance he took. It's different than if he invited him in his house. And I'm not saying maybe there's some benefit sometimes in inviting him in his house, but that goes back to the first point, which is we should try to use some hikmah that the Sheikh used and divide and make a distinction between how we treat the people, and Allah knows best. As I said, we were not able to meet Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan. The next person we went was Sheikh Saleh Sawayyij. Sheikh Saleh Sawayyij, I don't know if he actually gave a talk, and I don't think so. But he came and he talked with the brothers there. I was actually going to Maktabat al-Sumai'i, and I bought a few books there. And when we came back from the Maktaba, there was nothing planned, but the Sheikh had showed up, and the Sheikh was talking with the people. And so we just listened to the Sheikh talk a little bit and ask questions. Where was everyone from? And, just talk a little bit. And he brought us some gifts from amongst those books. He is the author of these 2 books. الفروق بين منهج أهل السنة والجماعة ومنهج مخالفيهم في نصح السلطان. The difference between the methodology of the people of the Sunnah and the congregation and the methodology of those who differ with them in advising the rulers. في ضوء الكتاب والسنة, according to or in the light of the book in the Sunnah. And it has an introduction by Sheikh Saleh Al-Fawzan. And here his name is Sheikh Saleh Sawayyij. He also has this book, Al-Furuq Bayna Minhaj A'immat Al-Da'wa Al-Islahiyya في المملكة العربية السعودية ومنهج مخالفيهم من عباد القبور والمبتدعة. The difference between the methodology of the scholars of the dawah who the dawah of rectification in the kingdom of uh, the, the the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the methodology of those who oppose them or contradict them from those who worship the graves and the innovators. Again, this has an introduction by Sheikh Saleh Al-Fawzan and Muhammad Hussein al-Sheikh, and here he is up here in the corner, Sheikh Saleh Al-Suwayyij. So we were able to meet with him, and he brought a few other books as well and gave them out to us, some other different little books. Okay. That brings us to Saturday morning. We pack up and we go to the Muassasa, the foundation of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, and they give us a tour. They're normally closed on Yom Sabt, Saturday morning, but they came for us, one of the brothers who's studying there in Riyadh, or Qasim, and he set up a tour. So they gave us a tour of all of Uthaymeen's books, and it's kind of like a small museum, although the bookstore is there as well, and that's where they print his books and go through and do the transcription from tapes and everything. Even though for the most part they're done, they are doing some renewing of previous books. I just heard today that they're getting ready to renew Sharh al-Mumti' fi Zad al-Mustaqni'. They're getting ready to redo that book, and they're looking for any suggestions from those people who have the book or have read the book, how to make it better. One of the Mashaykh said make the print smaller so you can put it in less volumes. Right now it's 15 volumes. Anyway, we went there and we did a little tour, and I was able to put in a letter and request all the books of Sheikh Uthaymeen. And alhamdulillah, they granted my request, and they granted me his library, which is around 15 boxes of books. But it wouldn't be ready until later on. And so we picked it up on the way back, which we'll get to bi'idhnillah. So we left Qasim around Dhuhr, and we went to Medina. In Medina, as we said, Saturday night, Yom Sabt, we didn't have anything. All the lessons started on Sunday, Yom al-Ahad. Yom al-Ahad, we had 3 mashayikh. Yom al-Ahad, we had, yes, all of his books for free, mashallah. You can buy them for around $1,800, and then they deal with shipping, but I'm not sure how the shipping is. I'm waiting for them to hear back, as one of the brothers is trying to buy them himself. So you can get everything for that amount for free. If you write it on masjid letterhead and send it to them, they will donate a copy to your masjid and ship it to you for free as well. It becomes a waqf for the masjid. It becomes an endowment for the masjid. It needs to stay there and be taken care of. In Medina, we were able to, of course, meet Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Al-Abad. A few of us were able to go there. The Sheikh, however, refused to meet with more than one person at a time. So we let our brother Abu Sa'ad Muhammad Shab'an go in and meet with the Sheikh, and he gave us a number of copies of a number of his books to distribute amongst the people. As we said, we were 80 in Medina. And so the Sheikh's health was very well. It was very good. He was doing well, and we were able to at least give him salams. Secondly, Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr, he also was not able to participate in the Dawrah itself, in the Rihla or the lessons themselves, as he's a very busy individual. However, I had translated a dua alladhi la yurad, the dua that is not rejected. And as is a habit of mine, when we translate it, I usually take him a box of 250 or 300 so that he can distribute them there in Medina. I remember when we were able to make Umrah, the very first time I made Umrah, we visited Sheikh Abdul Razak in his house, Hafidhullah, and at the end, he gave us a copy of his explanation of Ayatul Kursi. which was translated into English. And I realized at that point that there are English speaking people in Medina, visitors or new students, and they might benefit from this. And so it's been my habit of the books that we translate that I take them to him. So I took it to him. The sheikh said he was very busy. He didn't have the ability to distribute it. And there was a student there from the University of Medina, a brother who his origin was Moroccan from Maghreb, but he was from Holland. He was born and raised in Holland, and he had spoke English, so he gave them to him and told him to distribute them. So inshallah, that's what he was going to do. He took him. He was happy, put him on a scooter, and rode away. So we were able to meet those two sheikhs, but not spend very much time with them. Yom al-Ahad, we met Sheikh Mas'ud Haqqani. Mas'ud Haqqani, who was from Bukhara, right? Afghanistan. Unfortunately, I don't have a faida from his lessons because I was with Sheikh Abdul Mohsen and Sheikh Abdul Razak at that time. We were picking up the books for the rest of the students. I came in, he had finished his talk, and he was doing a question and answer at that time. And the one benefit I could say I took from him, when the fiqh questions were asked to him, he answered them. And when it came a question about the mustajaddat, the new issues, then he said, I don't know, you have to ask the senior scholars. I mean, he himself is a scholar. But he said, I don't know about this. You have to ask the senior scholars about this issue, these new matters that require ijtihad and stuff. I don't have that. It's amazing to see a scholar say, I don't know, when I know, I'm positive that if I was with some of my friends, and I'll be one of them, that if we were asked that same question, we say, I think maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that. Maybe we wouldn't give a firm statement, but we try to throw in our opinion. And the sheikh just simply said, I don't know. He could have threw his opinion in, but he said, I don't know. May Allah make us like that. The next dars, which was after Maghrib, that was after Asr, was with Mas'ad al-Husayni. And he talked about the importance of the Quran. And he had been teaching all day, and he gave an excellent lesson about the importance of the Quran and reading the Quran, and how reading the Quran can benefit the talib al-ilm, and how it makes his time more than less, and so on and so forth. And then the third lesson of that day was with Sheikh Abdul Bari ibn Sheikh Hamad al-Ansari. And as I said, I'm just trying to bring a faida from each sheikh if possible, or some fawaid, not necessarily every sheikh and every faida, but just something of benefit, which will help me keep them in my mind, as well as to share some of these benefits. We stayed in a hotel right across the street. It's called Taiba Medina Hotel. It's right across the street from Masjid al-Ghamama. Masjid al-Ghamama, for those of you who have been to Medina before, if you're facing the Qibla, if you're standing in the Prophet's Masjid and you put the Masjid behind you and you're facing the Qibla, then the Masjid is on your right, over there on the right, right outside the gate. It's a Masjid that has a lot of domes. Old Masjid with big like black stones and a lot of domes on it. This is Masjid Ghamama. They say this is where the Prophet ﷺ used to hold the Eid prayer, in this area, because the Prophet's Masjid now is bigger than the whole city of Medina at this time. SubhanAllah. So we stayed in a hotel right across the street from there. And I'll tell you something was really convenient, yet really bothersome at the same time. Right across the street from the Prophet's Masjid is a Hardee's, a KFC, and a Krispy Kreme. SubhanAllah. It's convenient. You want to go out and get some food real quick, it's real convenient. You don't have to go down the street to bake or look for something else. It's convenient. But at the same time, this commercialism, especially Western commercialism, I don't like seeing, these companies from the kuffar countries in the middle of the Prophet's Masjid like this, right there outside the gate. But alhamdulillah. Anyway, So we stayed at this hotel, and we were, and all of the lessons that I'm talking about now in Medina took place in the hotel, in like the conference room. They set up chairs, they were recorded, and inshallah they'll be online. Sheikh Abdul Bari, he said his subject was about traveling for seeking knowledge, and two benefits that I want to bring up of his. And he said that every path of success, or every path that is a good path, has its obstacles, and when they come, then you must fight against them and overcome them so that you can reach your goal. And if you don't, then you will fail. You will not reach your goal. And I say that to say, maybe learning Arabic, there's an obstacle. Maybe memorizing the Quran, there's an obstacle. Maybe raising your children, there's an obstacle. Trying to get married is an obstacle. On this trip, we had a flat tire on the way there. We had a flat tire on the bus during the trip that we took around the sites of Badr. We had many obstacles, many obstacles. You're put in a room with someone maybe who you don't know. You have a time schedule. There's many obstacles. And if you don't overcome them and be patient, then you're going to fail. Whereas if you are patient and you overcome them and you persevere, then you will pass. We all know this, but it's excellent advice from the Sheikh, especially, as I said, in this rihla, this travel that seemed like it should have been so easy. There were obstacles everywhere. You're trying to seek knowledge. This knowledge that you are seeking, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever treads a path seeking knowledge, right, then Allah will make, because of him traveling on that path, he will make easy for him the path to Jannah. Do you think Shaitan wants that? Do you think Shaitan wants you to have an easy path to Jannah? Seeking knowledge is a difficulty. It costs money. It takes time away from your family. When we had this trip, all of Kuwait was on a break. All of Kuwait was on a break at that time. There was a 9-day government vacation. Schools closed. All government offices closed. Only shops were open. So everybody could go to the chalets or visit or somewhere, do something with their families. 9 days. You had to leave your family. You had to leave your wives. Sometimes leave your children. You have to spend money. Like I said, be in rooms. Have a flat tire. Deal with this. Deal with that. Deal with having, dirty clothes or something because you're traveling and everything's not the same. If you're not patient, Shaitan wants you to give up. The second thing the Sheikh said, which is very beneficial, which supports what was said by Sheikh Masad al-Husseini about the Quran and the Quran benefiting you in your time, is that the student of knowledge should help himself with nawafil, with voluntary acts of worship. The student of knowledge should help himself by performing voluntary acts of worship. They will actually help you in your time and help you in your studies. And some of the Salaf said fasting is one of those things that will help a person in their studies and in their path of seeking knowledge. That's day one. In the morning time, they have a new path. A new path. For those who've been to Medina, one of the things that you want to do while you're in Medina is visit the Masjid Quba and pray there. The Prophet ﷺ used to go there every Sabt, every Saturday, walking or riding. So now in Medina, they took one of the old streets, and right outside the Prophet's Masjid, next to Masjid Gamama, if you cross the street, there's a path that takes you all the way to Masjid Quba, and there's no streets involved except one street. One street you have to cross. Every other thing, it takes you straight to Masjid Quba. It's about 3 to 4 kilometers. And it was a wonderful, wonderful walk. We walked early in the morning after Fajr, about 5 or 6 of us. We had a wonderful time talking. And we took a taxi back because I was kind of beat. Most everybody wanted to walk back, but not me. I'm old and fat. And so I wanted to take a taxi back. And we got breakfast, mashallah. It was at the hotel, paid for in the buffet. We ate breakfast, had a nice day, rested a little bit. Then we had those classes I just told you about. The second day, Yom al-Ithnain, Monday, we went in the morning after Fajr and we visited the Shuhada of Uhud. We visited the Shuhada of Uhud and we went there and we made dua Monday also, Yom al Ahad, we also walked to Baqiyat and made dua for the people in Baqiyat. And then we did the same thing on Yom al Ithnain, Monday, for the Shuhada of Uhud. Then we came back. We did a little bit of souvenir shopping. One of the brothers who was with us in our room, he needed to get some things. This was his first time in the making Umrah. So it was he was from Syria, first time young guy making Umrah. So we helped him buy a few nice souvenirs and this and that. Then classes started after Asr. The first sheikh was Sheikh Muhammad Bakhit Al Hujayli, who is a teacher of Hadith in University of Medina. The benefit I want to bring from him, even though I have a number of them written here, the benefit that I want to bring from him for the students of Hadith that maybe are reading Al Baykuniya in English or whatever other book about Hadith science that they're reading in English, and they'll find that Hadith are divided into, by some people, divided into mutawatir and ahad. Mutawatir and ahad. And he said, basically, that this taqsim, this division of hadith into mutawatir, meaning those that have a large number of narrators, that it can't be a lie on every level in the chain, and ahad, where they have just a few number of narrators in the chain, therefore they cast doubt about its authenticity because of that. He said this division, or this division of hadith into ahad and mutawatir, the people who did this, their desire by doing so is to destroy aqidah. Is to destroy aqidah. So we want to be careful. Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah and others told us this division is not from the people of the Sunnah, rather it's from the innovators. So we might read Al-Waraqat by Al-Juwayni and think that this is just usul al-fiqh and this and that, but not realizing that they insert things inside of there which try to take you away from the path of the Salaf, and therefore you must study these texts with a teacher. So those who divide hadith into ahad and mutawatir, their goal, we accept ahad in actions but not in aqidah, right? Their goal is to destroy aqidah. He said isqat al-aqidah, to have it fall, to have it drop, to not have it stand on its ground. So we don't want to fall into this trap of mutawatir and ahad. Maybe we deal with it like Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said. We deal with it because it's well known, so we talk about it, but it's not something that we ourselves question. Is this hadith ahad or mutawatir? We don't care. Maybe somebody says it, we deal with it, but we ourselves don't want to start questioning, is this hadith this or that? Because this has an ulterior agenda. The second sheikh we had that day after Asr, and if I go back to Yom al-Sabt when we left Qasim, then I missed an important step until just now. And that is, we were able to stop in a city called Farawa, 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 or Fawara, no, Farawa. Farawa, which is between Qasim and Medina, about halfway between Qasim and Medina, about 4 or 5 hours, about 2.5 hours this way, 2.5 hours that way, to stop at the house of Sheikh Ali at-Tawajiri. We stopped at his house. That's where he's originally from, Farawa, Farawa. And we were able to sit in his house, and he gave us a nice talk. MashaAllah. It's a very nice diwaniyah, very nice welcoming place for his guests, and he fed us lunch. And then we headed to Medina, right? And we also had him after Asr on the second day. A question that I asked him in his house as a benefit. Most people were asking questions about fiqh, about traveling, joining, qasr, shortening the prayers, joining them, and so on and so forth. I had a question that a brother had asked me that I want to share with you because it's probably important to the English-speaking world, especially those in the West where marijuana is becoming very commonplace. So the question was, some people make a medicine out of marijuana plants, but they extract the THC, which causes the person to get high or intoxicated. Is it permissible to use the rest of the plant with that element being removed? And the Sheikh, Rahimahullah, or Hafidahullah, and Rahimahullah, he said, he thought for a minute and he said, he doesn't think so. He didn't say for sure no, but he said he doesn't think so. He said because he said their goal in this is to get us closer and closer to falling into the haram. And he said, if this plant has a benefit for something, then there's probably another plant that doesn't have the THC originally that can provide that same benefit, and therefore the Muslim should seek that out and leave it alone. So this is something that could be important for those Muslims. Secondly, on Yom al-Ithnain after Maghrib, he gave a talk on Makarim al-Akhlaq. He has a book brings about 20 hadith talking about noble character, and he was basically explaining that book as much as he could in his short time between Maghrib and Isha. Then after Isha, we ate dinner quickly, which normally we ate dinner after the third lesson, but we ate dinner quickly and within 30 minutes. And then we left to Sheikh Saleh al-Suhaimi, his house. The Sheikh couldn't meet us in the hotel, but he said, come to my house. We gathered up in 2 buses. We went to his house, full filming crew, professional filming crew, and all the stuff, inshallah, will be posted online soon, bi'idhnillah. And we went to the Sheikh's house, and the Sheikh explained, welcoming us, all 80 some of us in his house, mashallah. He and also the brother, I forget his name, the Swedish brother. He's a doctor, Johansson or something. I can't remember. He also made sure that he visited with us, mashallah. And he explained the ayat of Ibad al-Rahman from Surah Al-Furqan. The Sheikh recited them with a beautiful voice of his, mashallah. And for those of you who don't know, he's the Mufti of Saudi Arabia. I mean, the Mufti of Medina now. The Mufti, not of Saudi Arabia, but the Mufti of Medina. And he brought us to his house. We sat in his house, mashallah. We were cramped, but we sat in his house. And he explained these ayat to us. And from amongst the benefits in the very first part, وَإِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. So the slaves of the ibad, the worshippers of Ar-Rahman, they don't walk on the earth proud and haughty and arrogant. And when the people of ignorance talk to them, they say salams. They don't respond with the likes. Rather, they say salams and just walk away. And in describing who are the juhal, who are these juhal, he said, al-juhal la yufakkiruna ala al-awaqib. That the juhal are those, the ignorant people are those who do not contemplate the results. They don't contemplate the results of their actions. So if you're angry and you don't care what anybody says or what anybody thinks, then at that point you're a jahil. If you do something out of spite, if you do something out of whatever, and you're not caring, you just do it out of ladha, out of desire or whatever, then at that point you're from the juhal, the ignorant people, the jahilun. So I thought that was something important that we want to ask Allah, as Musa alayhi salam, right? He said in the Quran, وَأَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ, if I said the ayat properly. That in general, as Allah Azza wa Jalla said, that Musa said, and I seek refuge in Allah that I be from those who are ignorant, from the jahilin. The next day, we took the trip to the Battle of Badr, everything where it took place and all the different sites. And inshallah, there's going to be a book coming out about it. Sheikh Mansur Khalidi was the one leading us in it. And That took most of the day, so we didn't have a class after Asr, so we could rest because we got back right around the time of Asr, although we left early in the morning. It was for Wallahi, if you ever look where Badr is, inshallah, when the book comes, maybe we'll do a review. Badr is like 100 and some kilometers from Medina. So they traveled from Medina to that place to defend Islam. From Medina to that place, 100 and some kilometers, some of them on foot, many of them on foot to defend Islam. And there was a well that they used to stop at and drink from, is well known. We saw a bunch of Muslims there from different lands seeking tabarruk by these places. And this is one question that was asked numerous times to the Mashayikh: can we visit these places? And they said, if you do it to seek blessings, if you do it setting out from your home country to there, then no. But if you're there and you're in the area, there's no problem with finding out historical information so that you can understand when you read about what took place, right? That you can have an idea in your mind. But going there to seek tabarruk, drinking this water, thinking that there's blessings in it or something, picking up stones, thinking that there's blessings in it or something, then this is not permissible. That night after Maghrib, we had Sheikh Saud al Khalaf, who gave us a lecture. And then we had at night, I'm trying to just wrap it up because I've been an hour now, Sheikh Sulaiman al Rahili, Hafidhullah, who came for us at the last minute, who is also the Imam of Masjid Quba, mashallah. And the point that I want to bring from him, Hafidhullah, and I love Sheikh Sulaiman with a deep love. I've benefited from him every time I've sat with him. This point I wanted to benefit is something that he began his talk with about the students of knowledge. And he was talking about a person who he shaved his beard and said the Jews and the Christians today grow their beards. So the Sheikh said, men tashabba biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whoever imitates a people, he's of them. He said, yeah, well, they grow their beards now, so that's why I shaved mine. The Sheikh, he said, it doesn't harm us if they imitate us. What harms us is if we imitate them. So if the non-Muslims or the people of innovation start imitating the Salafis, there's no harm in that for us. If they wear a kufi becomes the style. Many Muslims used to get made fun of for wearing their pants and their thobes above the ankle. Then when it became a style, no one says anything to them anymore. Having a beard made you look, like a bushman or this or that. And then when it became a style to have a beard, no one said anything anymore. So if they start wearing a kufi, or they start wearing a gutra or shamal because it becomes something cool, are we going to leave it because they start doing it? No. If they start wearing thobes, other than their graduation, other than the judges, if they start wearing this long, loose robe that we wear, are we going to leave it because they imitate us in it? No, we're going to let them imitate us. The problem is in us imitating them and their deficiencies. But if they agree with us in what we do, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is if we agree with them in what they do, right? So that's a fine distinction, inshallah. Then that was the end of the program. We woke up, as I said, we went and made Umrah. It was the easiest Umrah I ever made, mashallah. We stayed at a hotel. This is, again, a side point from knowledge, but it can assist you in seeking knowledge. We stayed in the 4 Points Hotel by Sheraton in Nasim, which is about 6 miles from Masjid al-Haram. It's still within the boundaries of the Haram, but it's about 6 miles from the masjid. The hotel was $40 a night for a 5-star hotel. And if you wanted food for all your guests in that room, it was $60 a night. If you wanted breakfast for all the guests, $60 a night, and they provide a free shuttle every hour on the hour, taking you to the Haram, and every half hour, bringing you back. So you get free trips, and you're still inside the Haram. There's a beautiful masjid next to it. There's shops around, free food delivery. from different restaurants if you want that. There's restaurants inside the hotel. So if you ever want to go and you don't want to be inside the madness and the chaos that can be right there inside the clock towers in that area, then stay out there in Nassim. The hotel is much cheaper, much nicer, much cleaner, and it's something that we really benefited from. So we stayed there. We made Umrah. We left on Jummah around Asr time, headed back to Medina. As we said, we spent the night because we were tired. We woke up in the morning and we headed back to Qasim, where I picked up my books. We tried to meet with Sheikh Abdullah Fawzan, but as we said, he was busy because he had a class that day. And then we headed back to Medina, mashallah. We made it back at night. We had a wonderful trip. We rode the speed limit, so we did not get any tickets, bi'idhnillah. And we came back, easy entry, no problems. And that was my trip. I had a couple questions here. Allahumma barak Ustad. Now may Allah bless you as well. From this Abu Mustafa Najib of Ugandi, can you tell us why people hate the great Sahaba Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and how can we refute the claims of the Shias regarding the slanders on the ikhtilaf that some of the companions had, such as Muawiyah and Aisha, our mother, may Allah be pleased with her? If there's any questions regarding my trip, then this is more preferable. But why do people hate Muawiyah? Because they're ignorant. They don't know of his blessings, of his virtues. They don't know of his virtues. And as for the second part, what about the difference? Then it's simple. The Prophet ﷺ said, when it comes to my companions, then stop, withhold. So whatever took place between them, took place between them. You know, why are you talking about what took place between Ali and Muawiyah or Ali and Aisha? Why are you not talking about what took place between your mom and your dad? Broadcast your mom and your dad's arguments. Or no, that's family stuff. It should be kept business. And this is family stuff. It should be kept private. If your mom and dad's arguments should be kept private, then the arguments amongst the Sahaba have more right to be kept private amongst them. Let them deal with it inside their own circles between them during that time and on the day of judgment. And you keep out of it, as the Prophet ﷺ said so. And this is simple. Now, brother, you mentioned the three things that we must do to protect ourselves from the groups attempting to misguide us. The third one was sincerity. How do we attain sincerity? Wallahi, it's the hardest thing you're going to do. This is going to be the hardest thing that you could do. As the Salaf, if you read Hilyat Talib al-Ilm by Sheikh Bakr Abu Zayd, the Salaf used to fight themselves for 20 years to try to attain sincerity. It's something that you have to do on a constant basis. It's not something you're going to do overnight. It's not something you're going to do. If you think you're sincere, Allah knows best you're not sincere. If you think you're sincere, then Allah knows best you're not sincere. Someone here says, Allah says, by dua. This is true. This is one of the ways. But the other way is going to also be by muhasabah, by holding yourself accountable, by, and I want to make a video about this because we hear about this. You know, Umar radiallahu anhu said, hasibu anfusikum qabla an tuhasibu. You know, hold yourselves accountable before you're held accountable. But how do I hold myself accountable? How do I, you know, we hear the Salaf, you know, they would think about what they did during the day, but you know, there's a series of steps in muhasabah that must be done. And it should be done on a daily basis. Inshallah, I'm going to make a video describing these 4 or 5 steps that should be done. A person must hold themselves accountable. They must ask, what did I do today? Why did I do it? You know, should I have done it? You know, you have to ask yourself a number of things, and you have to fight your desires. You know, you have to. It's not an easy matter, and I can't answer it in one you know quick thing, except you have to fight yourself. You have to fight your nafs. You have to fight your soul until you make it submit to Allah Azza wa Jal alone. And, as the person said, with dua, then with dua. That's definitely one of the things you have to do, is ask Allah to make you sincere. Busy yourself with the Quran, you know, busy yourself, think about it. Think about the first two steps. Does this concern me or not? One of the things that, if I were to tell you, if Allah were to cause you to die for a number of years, a couple hundred years, and then bring you back to life, you and your friends, and then one of you guys asked, how long did we stay here? And then someone told you, none of your business how long we stayed here. What would you think? What do you mean, none of my business? I've been sleeping here or are dead here for 100, 200, 300. I don't know how long I've been here, man. It is my business. But think about it in Surah Al-Kahf. Think about it where Allah Azza wa Jal, he says that he had them in the cave, and that he caused them to sleep, and the dog in front of them, in front of the cave with his legs stretched out, and in order to have them question themselves. And so the one says, and how long have I been here? You know what I mean? Or how long have we been here? And the other one says, labithna yawman aw ba'da yawm. We stayed there for a day or part of a day, right? قَالُوا رَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا لَبِثْتُمْ. So one of them said, your Lord knows best how long you stayed. Your Lord knows best how long you stayed, right? فَابْعَثُوا أَحَدَكُمْ بِوَارِقِكُمْ هَذِهِ. Send one of you with this money to go find us some good food. Don't worry about how long you've been here. We need some food. So if someone were to tell you, this doesn't concern you, what do you mean it's my family? But does it concern you for real? If you take these steps, does it to stay away from what doesn't concern you and to stick what does concern you, then Allah knows best. That's a big part of sincerity in and of itself, inshallah ta'ala. One of my other points that I wanted to bring here in this lesson is, and it's related to this brother Khalil's response. He says, may Allah reward you. Wa yak akhi. We really enjoyed and benefited from this talk. May Allah accept your umrah and increase us all in knowledge. Ameen. One of the reasons I want to talk about is how you could participate in something like this. As I said in the beginning, the umrah or the visitor visas from America and the Western countries right now are super easy. And they allow umrah. They just don't allow hajj. And you can go anywhere in the country. So if you've never been to Riyadh or to Qasim or Hafr al-Batin or any other place inside Dammam or any other place that you couldn't go before because of the visas, now you can go. Go make umrah, cut your hair, and go travel. Rent a car and go travel to another city. Meet some of the mashayikh. Go get out there and do it. It's super easy. And inshallah, next time that they offer a trip like that here from Kuwait, because Sheikh Mansur al-Khadi, this is his 10th Dawrah trip like this. This is his 10th Rihla Ilmiya, his 10th knowledge-based trip, right? And they used to just go to one city for 3 days and come back. This time they added the second city, and then some people made Umrah on their own like we did this time. So the next time it comes, I will announce it. And if you're able to make it, then you can make it. But other than that, you can get together. And if you want to, you can contact me on Facebook or on YouTube. And if you're from those countries and you can get the visa, then we can set up something ourselves. The brother who was in charge of the Qasim section, Muhammad Saad, who I rode with, he said, I lived in Medina 4 years and I never went to Sheikh Suleiman or Sheikh Salih Suhaimi's house. And he's very close with the Sheikh. He brings them all the time to Kuwait. He says, man, normally the Sheikh Suleiman or Sheikh Abdul Razak or whoever it is, they give their lesson and they're walking, they're crowded by a bunch of people. You guys, we came here. We were 80 people. The Sheikh came to us. If you go to Mecca or Medina and you see these mashayikh, you're 4 or 5 people together. then the Mashaykh say you just sit in our normal classes. But you go to Mecca or Medina and you're 50, 60, 70 people together. Wallahi, the Mashaykh will dedicate some time for you. So if you want to do that and you have that and you want to set it up, let's set it up. Let's do it. We can do it. English speaking people, get some professional translators, some professional video crew. We'll borrow Sheikh Mansour's professional video crew that was in Saudi, and we'll use them. We'll have professional translators, and we'll set this up for us. If you want to do it, it can be done. It can be done cheap for the price of the ticket for the most part. The $140 for the visa, that's just one time. And we can go by car. We can rent buses. We can do whatever we need to do. We can make this trip. Don't let the obstacles stop us from doing this. I plan to go often now that I have this 1-year visa, and I'm going to go with my family, and I'm going to go with the brothers, and if the brothers here from Kuwait, and I'm going to go with you guys if you guys want to come. So don't stop. There's no more difficulties. This westernization that's taking place, that's another benefit that we learned from Sheikh Omar al-Harakan. They talk about women driving and they talk about all these clubs. He said, man, there's more people in the masjid now than there were before. All this westernization is actually causing people to come to the masjid even more. We hear about the news opposite of that. Everything we hear is opposite of that. But the reality is on the ground. I didn't see any women driving. The worst thing I saw from women is one girl who was probably puberty age. She didn't have a hijab on in Qasim. Other than that, I saw women with hijab everywhere I went. They worked in the hotel counters. They were checking people in and out. But that's been for years, not something that just happened. Right? So don't fall into the media. One of the benefits of this westernization we take advantage of. Now I can get a visa. I was trying for many years, those of you who know me, to buy a business visa by $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Somebody even told me $10,000. I contemplated it to try to get a 5-year business visa. Now I can pay $142 every year for times 5 years. That's $750 or less, $700. And I can go in and out as I want for up to 90 days in a year. So don't let us prevent ourselves from doing this, man. You got a week. We got Dawra Ali ibn Abi Talib coming up in September or October, inshallah ta'ala, where the Mashaykh from Saudi come. After that, we dedicate another week. Maybe we spend a day or two with the Mashaykh of Kuwait, and then we go to Qasim, spend a day or two. Medina, spend a day or two. Go make Umrah and go home. In this small trip, I mentioned to you 13 names of scholars, 8 in Medina, 3 in Qasim, and 3 more. So that's 14. No, 2 more with Sheikh Abdul Muslim and Sheikh Abdul Razak that we weren't able to get real sittings with. But I met 13 scholars in 10 days. In the past, people used to travel thousands of miles, hundreds of, maybe 2 months to get one hadith one way. 1 month, 2 months one way, get one hadith and come back. Spend 4 months to get one hadith. In 10 days, how much did we gather? Right? So we could do it. Take a week in Kuwait, a week in Saudi. We can set this type of stuff up. Let's not stop ourselves. That's one of my reasons for doing this, so that we could be part of this tremendous action of seeking knowledge, which is paving for us the ease and the path to paradise. Muharram says, Jazakallah khairan akhi, hadhihi muhadara mufida. Wallahi, any benefit was from Allah, right? And any mistakes that were made were from me and Shaitan. As Sa'adi said, that's an amazing idea. May Allah make it easy. I mean, if you don't have any more questions about this rihla, I'll be done. I don't want to just over talk and talk, but if there's something about this, if it's related to how can we set it up, then contact me on Facebook or on YouTube and we'll communicate bi'idhnillah. Ustad, you have Twitter, Facebook, where can I contact? If you search Mustafa Nicholas, where's that at? If you search Mustafa Nicholas on Facebook, on Twitter, I actually had this program for a long time where we would make trips twice a year. And we started it, but then COVID happened and we didn't continue. But Rihlatain on Twitter. If you search Rihlatain on Twitter, that means 2 trips, one in the summer, one in the or one in the spring and one in the fall, or something like this, one in the summer, one in the winter, where we'd travel twice a year to different places, to different mashayikh, to gather the different ways. Um, where is Muawiyah's video about this trip? Inshallah, Muawiyah made lots of videos, and we just got to tie them all together, inshallah ta'ala. I doubt he's going to get up here and speak, though. uh, um, yeah, I remember, and then I'll close with this unless somebody has something in the meantime. But I won't bring anything else up, inshallah. I remember Sheikh Salam Al-Tawil was in Chicago in MCC. And for those of you who know or don't know about MCC, it's a big open place like it used to be a theater or a play hall. And the women's section is in the back in the same area as the men, and it's just divided by a curtain. So their voices carry in this big 20-foot tall room, or 30-foot tall maybe. Their voices just carry, and it's loud and it echoes. Sheikh Salam Hafidullah, he told them, sisters, this is for lessons, this is for learning. If you want to talk, go outside. If you can't control your kids, please go outside. People are trying to concentrate. He said it once. The sisters were quiet for about 15 minutes, and then, the sheikh continued his lesson, and then they started right back up, and the sheikh never said anything else about it again. Then once when I was in Columbus, Ohio, Sheikh Hassan al-Banna was there, and the sisters section, for those who don't know about Masjid Sahaba in Columbus, the sisters section is like behind where they had set the table. Wallahi, I was not right on top of the sheikh, maybe 20, 30 feet from him, but I didn't hear anything from the women. The women's side was even kind of far away. So if he heard something, it had to be like a whisper. And the sheikh and his son and the translator, they spent about 30 minutes going off on this. 30 minutes yelling, not in a bad way, but just, man, this is horrible. You guys are here. Don't you know, Masjid an-Nabawi? They used to prevent the kids from coming because of this. And then, they were upset about it. And the noise was very little, if at all. I mean, not if at all, like it didn't happen, like they were lying, but extremely small noise. And then I was in D.C. with Sheikh Falah, rahimahullah ta'ala, Sheikh Hassan al-Banna again, rahimahullah. And we were in Masjid Ahl Quran wa Sunnah in Washington, D.C., where Aqil Ingram was the imam at the time. And the sister side, for those of you who know, the masjid is very small. The brothers were even prostrating on each other's backs in salat. That's how tight it was. We weren't able to touch the ground. We had to prostrate on the backs of one another. And the sister side, I'm sure, anyway, the sisters were very loud. And the translator started to say something to them. And Sheikh Falah, he understands English a little bit. So you're talking to the sisters? I said, no. Look at you guys. You guys don't have room. You're standing up in the back. You're prostrating on each other's backs, I imagine the sister side smaller than this, and they got the kids. Your kids ain't with you. I hear the kids over there with them. So what are you going to say something to them for? Man, let them sisters go. Don't say nothing to them. So we have different 3 different scholars, 3 different levels of noise, and 3 different manners of dealing with the issue. Sheikh Salam, noise was medium. He said something once, never said it again. Sheikh Hassan al-Banna, rahimahullah, noise was very minimal. He said something, a whole lot of something. And Sheikh Falah, the noise was crazy, and he said, don't say nothing. And although I had the idea in my mind before to take from a number of different scholars from different places, like the Salaf did, this solidified in my mind when I contemplated on this and said, I must travel to seek knowledge from different places, from different sheikhs, because I don't want to be a carbon copy of any one sheikh. I don't want to be a carbon copy of anyone, although that would be great, mashallah. I probably won't be a carbon copy of any of them, but subhanallah, or any type of copy of any of them. But to be a carbon copy of one would be great. But I don't want to be that. I want to be myself. I want to adapt. I want to build me. I don't want to be someone else. I want to be me. So I got to seek knowledge and figure out what is me. I got to seek knowledge from others. So that's why we started this Rihlatain. Ibn Abdullah says, this is my masjid. I'm not sure which one he's talking about, Columbus or DC or where, I'm not sure, uh, or Chicago maybe even. But anyway, to see the different characters that the Mashiach had, and this is what started Rihlatain, which is the Twitter account. Again, I'll throw it back up there. Facebook, you can find my name, Mustafa Nicholas. I think you maybe join them together, but it'll probably come up. This little symbol where Abu Muawiyah Mustafa Nicholas, that'll be on my Facebook page. You can find it. And inshallah, we'll close with that. I've been too long-winded as it is, but I hope you found some benefit in this, and I hope it encourages you to seek knowledge. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me for any shortcomings that I may have committed. I ask Allah to give us the strength to seek knowledge and the patience that is necessary in this path, and to make easy for us this path, so that the path for Jannah can be made easy for us. Rihan Zubair says it's Rihlatain with a Y, not an I. Inshallah. Maybe he knows better than me. And he says, Masjid Sahaba ibn Abdullah. May Allah preserve all of you. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I said, to make us firm on the path of seeking knowledge, which is the path to Jannah. Learning one hadith is a path to Jannah. Learning many hadith is a path to Jannah. The more we learn, the easier it will become, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Let's not let shaitan stop us, as his goal is to stop us from entering into Jannah. And may he make us sincere. May he make us busy ourselves with what concerns us, and keep us away from that which does not concern us, and guide us and protect us. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wa iyyakum akhi ibn Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.